Welcome to Translating Interview Speak, what your interviewer really wants to know. We're here at Chapter 8 of 13 chapters. So in this chapter, you're going to learn about mistakes that you want to avoid. And some of the mistakes we're going to talk about here are not doing your homework, not being real, or leaving without doing certain things. We're Barbara Limmer and Laura Brown. We've written the book Interview Speak, what your interviewer really wants to know, and we want to help you get your next job. The first mistakes we're going to cover are not doing your homework. And the first area we're going to talk about is not practicing your answers to difficult or delicate questions. So for a lot of people, there's something sensitive in their background. And if there is, take time to think through your answers and practice them so they roll off your tongue without any hesitation or using filler words like and So for example, some things that may cause some issues for you are what reasons you had for leaving your current job or previous positions, why you have an employment gap, why you feel you're ready for a higher level position, why you're looking to change fields or industries, why you have a college degree that doesn't relate to the kind of job you seek. And once you come up with a good answer, what you want to do is practice with a friend or in front of a mirror or record yourself. So again, when you're asked one of these uncomfortable questions, it just rolls off your tongue.
Another possible mistake is not planning good questions or enough questions to ask the interviewer because they will almost always ask you, typically at the end of your interview, what questions do you have for me? And you've got to remember that you have an opportunity to impress with the questions you ask. So make sure they show your experience and expertise and that you've done your homework. You can go much beyond the standard. Describe a typical day for me, because anyone could ask that. So don't forget about that opportunity to impress. And with your questions, show your genuine enthusiasm, curiosity, and excitement by having a long list of possible questions. By the way, I'll never forget a candidate I had who I thought was great. I was ready to forward him along to the next interviewer, and I asked him what questions he had. He had one fabulous question. I answered it, and I said, we still have a little bit more time. What other questions do you have? And he said, nope, that was it. I only had that one. Guess what? That was the point that he blew it. Because if he really was interested in this job, he would have had a lot of questions. And you can always ask how they got started at that company or in their field and what kinds of people are successful there. That really gets them to open up. And when they open up to you, they feel comfortable with you, they like you, and you're dramatically increasing the odds that you're going to either get the job offer or advance to the next round in the interview process. Another mistake is not testing out your tech in advance for video interviews. And I know people probably think, oh, I do video meetings all the time. I don't need to test my technology. Yeah, you do. Make sure that you have the link, the meeting ID, and any other information you'll need to join the meeting on time. And you do want to check your settings, especially the video, because you can check your lighting, your web camera's angle, and consider doing a test run with a friend if you've not had a video interview before. And speaking of the web camera's angle, you do want to make sure the webcam is directly facing your eyes rather than sitting low on your desk. Because if you are looking down at them, they will be looking up at you. I've done a number of these video interviews where I'm basically looking at the person's chin, and it's not all that fun, let me tell you. So even if you have to use books to elevate your monitor or your laptop, you want to make sure that the webcam is directly parallel to your eyes. Make sure you also check to see what will be visible to the other person on screen, because they can see what is behind you or next to you. And here's one. If you have a ceiling fan, you've got to make sure it's either turned off or not visible on the screen because it can be quite distracting. Again, I've been there where I'm trying to look at the person and I see the ceiling fan going around and around above them, and it's just very distracting. You don't want them to be distracted. You want them listening intently to your answers. So for on-site interviews, one mistake is not mapping out your directions, your parking options, and your commute time to make sure that you get there on time. Check the traffic patterns during the time frame of your interview and make sure you know how long it will take to get there. You may even want to do a practice drive because online maps are not 100% accurate all the time. Find out where to park and allow extra time if parking spots are limited. Make sure you have a contact phone number in case of an unexpected delay. Here's another mistake, not arriving early. I remember the saying, if you're on time, that means you're late. So plan on arriving early. Whether your interview is by phone, video, or in person, it's important to arrive a few minutes early because you don't want them to be wondering where you are at the scheduled time. What does that say about you? That you're someone who doesn't care about being on time? They're probably not going to want to hire you if that's their impression of you, which may not be accurate, but they're forming an impression. Being late will very likely eliminate you from consideration. Here's one. The next area is about not being real. We make a huge point of this in our book that we want you to be yourself in the interview. So a mistake is not being yourself in your answers. There really is nothing more important than being real, being human, and being yourself in the interview. Even if you give perfect answers, although really there's no such thing as a perfect answer. But if you have excellent qualifications, if interviewers feel that you're just giving them canned or rehearsed answers, or you're just trying to tell them what you think they want to hear, or you're giving them BS or fake answers, they're going to find a reason to not hire you. And by the way, if you stumble or need time to think or don't understand the question, it's okay to ask for clarification. It's okay to appear nervous. Most of us are nervous when we're in a job interview. By the way, if you're not nervous, that might indicate you're really not all that interested in the job. So that's okay. Another mistake is trying to pass off a BS or fake answer or a memorized answer as authentic. If interviewers feel that you're giving them canned or rehearsed answers, they won't feel like they're really getting to know you. And they'll likely find someone else that they trust more, who, by the way, might be less qualified than you. And interviewers can recognize canned answers and may press you for a real answer. I've done that before as an interviewer. Yeah, I've heard that answer before. Yes, I've read that same answer in the books that tell you what to say. No, give me a real answer. That's the way to advance in the interview process.
Another mistake is ignoring the importance of rapport building. And I have seen this so many times. Employers will hire somebody they like who is maybe 75% qualified over somebody who's 100% qualified who they don't like or don't feel they got to know during the interview. And I remember talking to so many managers, they'd be down to the last couple of candidates. And I heard plenty of times, well, this person knows more, this person has 100%, but I really like this one and I can teach them or they can learn. So it's so important to really build that rapport. Building a human connection with the interviewer is crucial. Show genuine interest in them and listen to what they say. Barbara mentioned a question before. If you ask them, what brought them to this industry or what brought them to this company, really pay attention to what they say because they're sharing some good information. And for you, being prepared, curious, enthusiastic, and excited will help build rapport. Let's talk about some mistakes that are leaving without doing certain things. You don't want to leave without finding out what the next steps are and the time frames. So your last question should be to find out what are the next steps in the selection process? What's their anticipated time frame for hiring somebody? And this could help to reduce some of your stress if a couple of weeks go by and you haven't heard anything. But if they tell you, oh, the manager is out on vacation, so we're really not going to go to the next stage until next month, okay, then I'm not going to get so nervous. It really is helpful to ask about it. You also want to make sure that you get the names and contact information of all the interviewers. You want to send thank you emails and messages to show that you're not somebody who just does the bare minimum. Also, these messages give you an opportunity to get your name in front of the interviewer again, to remind them why you're excited and feel you're a great fit for the role, and also to show your respect by being appreciative of their time. So say, thank you so much for meeting with me. Again, you want to let them know you want this job and you're excited about this job. Now, if you're on site, you can ask for business cards, you can stop by the reception desk to get this information. But if it's a virtual interview or phone interview, ask the person who scheduled you for the names and contact information so you can make sure to get back to them as soon as possible. You also want to close the sale at the end. So at the end of the interview, reiterate your interest and your enthusiasm about the job and briefly summarize why you're such a great fit for this role and this organization. So you could say something like, I'm excited about this job and I feel I'm a great fit because of X and Y and Z, as we've discussed. And I really look forward to continuing the conversation in the next stage of your selection process. What are our next steps and timeframes? So it's also a little thing in there. Notice when we say our next steps, you're already acting like you're working with them and working there. And then with a firm handshake, if you're on site, or direct eye contact and a smile, thank them for their time and say goodbye. So again, it's important that you have reminded them and help them to see, yes, this person is the best choice for me to either move ahead or to give a job offer. So what's next? In Chapter 9, not hearing the question, the whole question, and the heart of the question, we're going to talk about avoiding common mistakes and what to do instead. Thank you so much for joining us on this video. Please like and share. Don't forget, you can get a discount on Interview Speaks at our publisher Manning.com, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thank you.